I just would like to introduce this session now, which is titled Teamwork Makes the Dream Work, How Museums Networks Can Lead the Way for Growth and Collaboration. This is Sarah Yoreth, and if I can hand it over to you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you. I'm going to take this out because the echo is really bizarre. Can everyone hear me okay? We all good? Amazing. Thank you so much for coming today. I was really worried I'd have no one because there's some real fierce competition for your attention today, so thank you. My name's Sarah, and I wear a lot of hats. I feel like that's a phrase we use a lot in museums. It was something I'd never heard of before. So in my day job, I'm acting commercial manager of the old Operating Theatre Museum in London Bridge. But I also have the absolute privilege of being chair of the network I'm going to talk a bit about today, which is the London Museums of Health and Medicine. There we go. Nice, pretty slide for you. I can only apologise for using such a cliche quote as a title. I really, really struggled to name this talk. But I think it works. I think it works quite well. So to start us off, instead of telling you the things I'm going to do today, I'm going to invert that and I'm going to tell you the things I'm not going to do. So I'm not going to pretend like our network is perfect and that you should all be doing the exact same things as us. We still have a lot of work to do. That's just a fact. I'm also not going to tell you that networks hold the power to fix all of the problems within our industry. They don't. But what I am going to talk about is what they are, how they run, why they're important, and the work that they can do, and the support that they can give to all of you and to the organisations that you work for. So a little bit about our network. We are a network that connects over 20 organisations, and they're quite varied in scope and what they specialise in. They all engage with the public on health and medicine. And that means past, present and future. So there's a real feeling of also linking present issues, well-being and health all through time and into the future as well. The way our network works is we charge each member organisation and we try and keep that cost really, really low. So we charge each member organisation £50 a year. Shockingly, that hasn't gone up since 1997. We haven't raised that price. We might have to. We're trying our best not to. That basically just covers our main running fees. It means that we can operate our website, we can produce our leaflets. We also offer individual memberships so that we are reaching freelancers because they are such an important part of our industry. But everybody who works for those organisations can access us completely for free. And the same for the public. And I'll talk a little bit about our public engagement in a little while, but it's really important to us that all of that is free to access. Do we need to probably raise our prices? Maybe a little bit. A lot has changed since 1997, but we are going to do our best to try and keep it as low as we possibly can. So these are just a few of the incredible organisations that make up our network, and I think it's only fair to give them a big shout out today. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how networks run. But because before I ever joined this network, I had never really understood how networks operate. Within museums, there's a lot of different types of groups. You've got working groups, associations. So network is a bit of a loose term. Network isn't actually in our title, but we operate as a network. And I would sit here and really align the differences, but it might take me hours. Today I'm going to use network as my keyword. And how we run and how a lot of organisations like us run is we are a committee of elected members. So we all work for one of our member organisations. We don't get paid for our work on the network. It's voluntary. Some of us are lucky enough that our organisations are supportive, and so we can do some of the hours within our sort of professional development work time. But I'll be honest, I spend a lot of weekends doing this kind of stuff. I've been working on this presentation in my evenings and on my weekends. But it is something that is really amazing. I'm so lucky to work with an incredible committee of dedicated individuals who really do dedicate their time to better the sector. And looking around, I can see one of my past committee members, so thank you for all of your work and support. And I wouldn't be able to be here today and talk about it without them. They are incredible. And I just really wanted to push that, especially because we have one in the room. So let's talk a little bit about why networks matter. I'm going to be using ours as an example, but this really does go across all networks. And believe me when I tell you, there are so many of them. There are ones to do with specific subjects, locations, you name it, there's a network. If you look around though and feel like there's not a network that feels right for you, make your own. I know that sounds kind of a big thing, but a network is at its core a group of people or a group of organizations sharing a goal, sharing something, a vision, wanting to connect and grow with each other. Really, that is what it is. And there's a reason that I put this quote up today, and it's because, honestly, I could put this up, walk away, and you'll get the main point of this talk. It's a really great one, and it's from the website of London Museum, which was Museum of London. And just as a point, they are a great resource for London-based networks. And what I like about this quote, so it reads, "The free exchange of skills and information between museum workers is vital for the health of the sector in London." And specifically what I like about this quote is that they use museum workers. In danger of going back into a bit of a cliche here, our industry works and functions because of all of the people sat in this room and all of the people who couldn't make it today because they're keeping the museums that we work for open. We are at the heart of how this industry runs, and we are overwhelmingly underpaid, overworked. It can be really difficult. We are expected to achieve a lot with very, very small budgets, and this is why I'm so passionate about networks and the work that we do, because we do put the workers at the heart of everything that we're trying to achieve. In my own experience, being a part of this network has been really amazing for my career development, but also as a place of well-being. I work for a very small museum. I'm very lucky to have an incredible team who are here to support me today. But it can feel quite isolating when you work for a very small team sometimes. And so the same can probably be said for bigger organizations. And it's a really wonderful chance to engage and learn from people who are in similar sort of based museums, share similar subjects or geographical areas, but you can learn from each other and you can socialize and you can make really, really amazing friends, which has been something I really didn't expect. Networks generally will, in terms of the aims and objectives, will fall within these mostly. Obviously I can't speak for every network. I'm very much using ours as a key case study today. And I haven't got, unfortunately in 40 minutes, I don't have time to go through every single one of these in as much detail as I would like to. But I am going to just touch on them as a whole, and also just pick out a few kind of key ones. So at the heart of museum networks, there's an understanding that not all museums share the same characteristics. So whether that be their size, their audience, the amount of workforce that they have, or even resources, and resources can really cover a massive range. And by bringing all of our organizations together, we share a similar goal, or a subject, or a location. And that allows us to have an efficient share in resources and opportunities that really does allow us to grow our sort of shared community. We're there to support each other and to give advice and to help each other in different ways. And what all of these objectives create is an environment where we can strengthen the social role museums fulfill. We can encourage good practice and call out bad practice within our members. Thankfully, haven't had to do that while chair. Terrified one day I will. And also promote economic, social and cultural growth, both within our small little community, but also wider. So there's a lot here. I am just going to pick out a few that I really love, things that I'm really proud of from our network, just to give you a taste of what networks can achieve. So, apologies, some of the titles have slightly shifted. We're going to start off with public engagement. Events is a big one to do that. And every year we host a object handling session that I love It's called Up Close and Medical. And what it does is it brings multiple of our organisations, I think roughly between 10 and 15 of them are normally able to attend, in one room. Each has a table and they bring their handling collection most of the time. And this is a completely free event to the public. We advertise it, our members advertise it. And it really brings lots of people in. Some people who have never been to any of our museums, others that are like the biggest fans and love us all and want to just interact in every way that they can. Normally we host this in October. And the reason this year we shifted it was simply because October half term, all of our members were flat out busy. We had so much going on. I don't know if it's a spooky season thing that medical museums are really popular in autumn, but it is a thing. So this year we decided to give it a go and put it in February. It didn't see the level of interaction that we wanted, I'll be honest, and it's definitely something we now need to think about. Are we going to move it to the summer? We need to have a little think. Even though our turnout wasn't what we wanted this year, it actually was one of the ones that I've been the most proud of, and it was one of the most impactful. And I don't know if it was because there was less people, so every visitor felt like they could spend more time with us, but we've never seen that level, the level of engagement that we saw at these events like we did in February. We had families of all different ages, all different interests, backgrounds coming in, wanting to interact with every single object, every single person. And they were really eager to tell us how much they loved the event and what we could change, what we could do better. But one thing that really just hit me and made me feel so... It made all of the work that we do feel worth it, was when they talked about, and this is coming from people and children and young people from ages 5 up to into their teens, that they were inspired. That's a really powerful thing. They were inspired to be the next generation of medical professionals, historians, which I personally as a historian was very happy about, and also museum workers, the next generation of all of us. So many of them had never thought about those industries before, and we opened that door of what museums can be, what they can bring to communities, and that was wonderful to hear. And also from the parents that this was something educational they could take their kids to for free in London, which can be quite difficult. So many of our member organisations, ours included, have to charge for admission. It's one of those things we wish we didn't have to, but we're just in that position at the moment where right now we have to stay open. But to be able to go to events like this is incredible, because it means we can still be in the community, we can still get together and grow and be a really important part of educating the next generation and inspiring people from all ages. It's never too late to decide you want to become a doctor. We also do other types of public engagement. This leaflet has been one of the best things I've ever made, and also the bane of my existence. You would think putting a leaflet together would take 5 minutes. When you're trying, I can see people shaking their heads. You understand my pain. Trying to fit, I think in the end, for this one, we ended up with 23 of our organisations wanting to be in this. Trying to reach out to 23 different institutions, figuring out who the best person to speak to is, and find out the image they want to use and the right information they want us to share, was grueling. Start to finish, this leaflet took me 25 hours to put together. But we got there, and hopefully I won't have to do that again. It was especially difficult when it's supposed to be in alphabetical order, and all of a sudden, when you've done all of the formatting, somebody right in the middle of the alphabet decides they want to be included. That was great. I'm not going to tell you who that was, but that was a few hours of my life all disappeared. But whoever said print marketing is dead clearly hasn't tried to get their hands on this thing. We did a massive batch of printing. I'm in desperate need of doing it again, which is the only reason you haven't got one currently. It is impossible to keep them in stock. They fly off the shelves in all of the member organisations they seem to be in. At the Old Operating Theatre, I get constant messages on Teams asking me from my colleagues where they're stored, where they can get more. We can't keep them on the shelves. But it's one thing for people to pick up a leaflet, it's another thing to watch them use it. And that's actually been something that all of our members have been mentioning and our team have noticed, is that people are actually using these. So you can't see it fully because honestly it's too big to fit. The actual leaflet is 6-sided, well 6 pages on each side, so 12 pages in total. It sort of fans out. It has information about every member organisation, but it also has this really nice little map feature here, which I did make by hand, and I genuinely deserve a pay rise just for that alone. Honestly, it took me ages. But people come in with these leaflets to each of our organisations, and I really liked it. I was chatting with, I think he was about 9, this little boy came in, and he had the leaflet, and he told me that he thought that the museums were all like Pokemon, and he wanted to collect all of them and tick each and every one off the list, which I thought was really sweet, and I love that. And I had to include that because it's the number one thing I think of when I talk about this leaflet. I didn't expect to do a whole page on a leaflet, but honestly, it has been a huge success. One piece of feedback that we get is that people will know of maybe a few of our organisations, because some of our organisations are definitely bigger. They have a much bigger reach. They're more well known. You know, we have people like Science Museum, Wellcome Collection. They have a bigger audience. They'll often visit them, one of those big organisations, potentially pick up this leaflet there, and that is when they discover the fact that London has all of these medical museums or places that touch on health and medicine they never knew about, which is incredible, and that's so amazing that we can support each other in that way and pass on that audience, encourage new people to visit all of our museums and support us, because ultimately most of our museums are charities or we are connected to royal colleges, and they have so much important history and information to share, and it's really incredible that a leaflet could achieve so much. And I really love the Pokemon reference is fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted from the leaflet, and now I know I desperately need to print a considerable more of them. And it also links to our website. So one thing with museum networks is they can be quite hard to find, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. But we're quite lucky because we charge for membership for organisations, it means that we can afford to print leaflets and to run a website. So I have a wonderful webmaster that looks after this. The only person that actually gets paid from our network is our web developer, Ollie, who's fantastic and is always there to help us when it breaks, because websites love to break. We've recently switched, so we had an old format that needed a bit of updating. It kind of restricted how much we could grow it. So we've recently invested a little bit to make it a bit more shiny and new. This website, like the leaflet, links all of our member organisations, all of their opening hours, but it's also, we have a page which annoyingly, every time I screenshotted it, just broke on me. There's a page on there for all of our events and exhibitions. So we're kind of working on the login situation at the moment. But the end goal will be that all of our members have a login, and they can upload their own events, the exhibitions they've got going on, anything they want to share. And this is a one-stop shop for anyone interested in medical history or just health and medicine in London generally, to have a look at what's going on across all of our members. And it's seen a real interest. I run events for the Old Operating Theatre, and one thing I try to ask visitors is how they find out about our events, and the amount of times that people have said via this website is really great. It's definitely a massive resource. We're also constantly trying to grow our social media presence. So what we do is we have our own platforms. Currently we have LinkedIn, Instagram. We are technically still on X. We're migrating. Trust me, we are. I'm currently completely without marketing officers, but once they're in, we are running far away, going to Blue Sky. I think everyone is kind of joining on that. But one thing we really like to do is bring all of our organisations together and their work within specific themes and specific times of the year. So, for example, our example I popped up today was LGBTQ plus month. So many events were going on. It was incredible to bring them all together. But it's also a way to shout about the work that's going on in our museums, but also work that connects to us. So if there's a really incredible book being published that we think everyone needs to hear about, it's going in there. And any of our members can send stuff in. It's really great, a way of engaging. More of the public are now starting to find out about these and follow us, find out all of this really exciting information. This is the area, one of the main areas we're excited to grow more. We are currently we do have a few vacancies. So once our committee is back full, if it ever is, that is definitely something that I'm really excited for us to get back into. And this one, I think it's because I'm a historian. This is the bit of our network that I love the most, that we have become a bit of a point of reference for medical history in London generally. So our members cover, honestly, every angle of health and medicine. If you are looking for something, one of them will have it, I'm sure. Whether it's on display or in their collection, they'll have it. And through our website and through our leaflet and all of these different options, we get so many emails and so much contact from students, from companies, honestly, individuals who are just interested. But we also get reached out to by organizations that directly mean that we can link in our members and actually make them some money. So recently a film company reached out, and they were trying to film for a medical tech company, and they wanted to link what they were doing now with what they did in the past. And so they sent me a list of specific topics, specific objects they wanted to include, and that way we could go through our members and go, here are the organizations that are going to be perfect for you. And I think they ended up filming with 5 of us, each one getting paid a decent amount of money. Their profile is now, has a little boost within medical tech, which is always great. A lot of our visitors are medical professionals, which is really, really amazing. But it's really great that we can do that. We can be that service for the public, for anyone, that they're stuck. They need some help. And we can fill that gap, and we can help, and we can pass things along. I don't know about you guys, we tend to notice that we always get someone popping in with, I've just went into my attic and I found this random bag of 19th century medical instruments or a bottle of poison. They'll just turn up with it and be like, do you want it? Most museums aren't going to just take it. Collections are a little bit more complicated than that. But what we can do, what we encourage our members to do, is to get them in touch with us, because what we can do is forward that information, ideally not just turn up with them, but we can forward that information to all of our members, and then they can decide whether to reach out, and maybe they want that object, or they can continue to further pass that person over to someone they think is a good fit, because that object will probably be perfect for somebody. It's just not something our front of house team can really deal with. So ideally we want to move away from random sharp objects being delivered to the museum on a random Wednesday. It happens a lot, it really does. And I do want to bring your attention to just one poster on this slide. And this is a project that came to me a few months ago and is honestly incredible, and something that I'm so glad found its way to us. So this is called Long COVID Superheroes. It's a theatre and comic book project that celebrates the resilience of young people with long COVID. Their lives have been massively affected post-COVID. I think a lot of us moved on, and society moved on, and they are still in that space of worrying about infection and are still struggling with it. And so this theatre company came together and wanted to create something for that. So they're going to be putting on sessions that are completely COVID safe. So they're still putting in those measures to make sure that the families that are involved feel really safe. And the key thing they wanted from us was they had gone through, I think, 2 rounds of applications for funding, and they'd been rejected twice. But the last time, they had gotten so close, so close. And the only real thing that stopped them from getting that funding was the reach. They were worried that just on their own, they weren't going to reach enough people, they weren't going to reach enough of an audience to make this worth it. So the organizer reached out to us as a network and asked if we would be willing to help market, help support, but also pass this over to our members so we could increase that reach. And with our support, they managed to get through their 3rd round of funding, which was so amazing. It's a wonderful organisation. I'm so proud to be able to be a part of it. We have a general meeting for our members on Monday, and the organiser for this is coming along to advocate for her project herself, because she can do it way better than I ever could. And I'm really excited to hear more about what they're going to do and to see the final results. So if you are interested, do keep an eye on this. I highly recommend it. They have their own social media. I just wanted to push that a little bit, because I think it's vital. It's such an important thing the networks can support. And as a network, we are in a really great position to help our members support things like this as well. Another thing that we're quite good at is creating a bit of a sense of a community. This is the thing that I don't have as much to say, only because this is where I want us to grow more. But a sense of community is really important. Well-being within teams is vital, and I think having that community is really key. So we do try and do as many of these as we can. It is really difficult, and I'm going to go on to some of our challenges in a sec, but we are a team of volunteers. And when you've done a week of hard work in your museum job, you don't necessarily have much energy left to dedicate to more planning and more thinking about museums. We try our best, and our resources are limited, but we try to encourage all of these. And the one thing that I think we do really well is our JISC Mail mailing list. Mailing list always sounds a bit like, oh, you just get newsletters constantly, and we do have a newsletter. But this is also a really great resource for all of our members and anyone who wants to join it, really, to share information. Sometimes they offer special offers to all of our members and to everybody who joins our network. But it's also a really great place to ask for advice. So recently, and I hope she doesn't mind because I only decided to throw this in now, my colleague Jenny, who is incredible and does amazing outreach for the Old Operating Theatre, she was looking for a new way to transport our handling collection, because they don't really make really specific boxes for that without it being, thousands of pounds. And she went on the JISC Mail and asked, how are you all doing it? And it's a really great resource to do that, to reach out and ask for support and ideas and advice. She ended up with a really great suitcase idea where we're going to pack it out and it's going to be way better. Previously, she was using these boxes that were just dangerous, and she relied on the kindness of strangers to get it on and off trains around London. And it's amazing to see that support from other museums can really further each of us. We don't need to be in competition. We are here as an industry today, and I think that's a really clear point, that networks are needed. We're really important, and whether we reach thousands of people or we reach 5, it means that we've done something right, and that's great, and that's really exciting. And if anything, we are seeing growth through lots of different avenues, and it means that we're getting that energy back post-COVID to do more and to work through that exhaustion and try and achieve the next great thing that we want to do. But I can't just stand here and say networks are brilliant and amazing without recognizing that they have challenges. I do want to point out that this slide I changed the name of a few days ago. So when I put this presentation together, this slide was originally called Key Challenges to Being a Successful Network. But honestly, the fact that a network is still operational is a huge success in itself. We all went through a lot. I know I'm sort of barking on the COVID thing, but we did. All of our museums, everything within our industry took a knock from COVID. And there are lots of networks who didn't make it through. And also just generally, we do rely on a lot of hard work, on unpaid labor. So the fact that we're still here is the biggest success, and I'm happy with that. Even if we can't grow any more, that is perfect. So I did want to look at, though, what key challenges there are to us growing further right now. I've numbered these, but they change in order completely depending on the situation and the year and whatever the crisis is of the moment. So one of the big ones is organizational support. All of our members seem to be really happy to pay to be a part of our network, but they don't seem to want to get involved with anything that they're paying for. The hardest thing is getting them to actually tell their teams that we exist. The smaller museums are easier, mostly because either one of us as a committee member is there constantly shouting at all of our colleagues to get involved. But it is really difficult to get organizations to just get involved. And it's because they're overworked, we've got so much going on. And what we really want to do is we want to focus on reaching our member organizations and reminding them that we aren't a hindrance. We aren't just another email coming into the inbox. We're offering a service that they're already paying for. And all we really want is for them to let their teams know that we exist, and we will do all the hard work. Because that's what we need. We need more people getting involved. We need more people starting the conversations. Because, and I'm going to talk about what I want us to grow in a second, but we need that support, and we need those people in the room so that we can talk about the things that our museums are facing. And together we are way more powerful, and we are stronger than we are individually. Money, I'm not going to focus on, because we could spend, that's it. Our industry needs money, the funding is drying up. Money would be lovely. We don't want to keep having to put that on our member organisations. So increasingly we want to structure what we're doing a bit more so that we're open up to more funding. It is possible. It's not easy. So we are trying to do what we can with the absolute bare minimum, which I'm sure all of you appreciate and fully understand. Our workforce is also really tough. Like I said, we are volunteers. It is really hard to get people to have the time. We have families, we have lives outside of our museum jobs, and this does take up time. And this kind of links in with organisational support, is that we're really keen for more of our organisations to see being on the committee as a type of professional development, and especially those organisations, which are most of them, are saying to their workforce that they are dedicated to supporting professional development and giving some time. It doesn't have to be lots, but a little bit of time to allow someone to be on the committee and do a bit of that work in their day-to-day. It's a dream, it's a goal. We might get there, we might not. I do have a lot of vacancies right now, and I'm hoping that we can fill those. It's really hard to run a network I think we're at 5 people at the moment, but we do what we can, and that's all you can really ask for. And the last one is visibility. Museum networks as a whole are really hard to find. The only reason we are as easy to find as we are is A, because we have a website and we can do print marketing, and that's because we charge. A lot of networks don't want to do that, or they are structured where their members aren't organisations, they're individuals, and they don't want to put that cost on them. But it makes it really hard for people just to find out about a museum network to join. And there are so many. There are honestly hundreds, if not thousands. I did some research, and I wanted to put a whole slide together of all these amazing networks. I actually found it really hard to find them. There was a really great website, all really specific to subject-based networks, and unfortunately the website's down. I don't know if it's long-term, I don't know if it's temporary. I'm really hoping it comes back. But those are our challenges. But it doesn't mean that we can't grow. And this is what I'm hoping for. This is what I'm really thinking that our future could look like. One thing I've learned is there is no perfect way to run a network. There's no one perfect way to be a network. You can't make everyone happy. You can't do what everybody needs, but you can try and achieve the general. The main things for us is that we are accessible, we are easy to find, and we are approachable. Ultimately, that's what I want. If someone working within one of our museums needs support in something, I want us to be that place where someone feels willing to come and chat and ask us questions. That's really important. But I would also love us to be doing more of the things I've got up here. One of the reasons I want more people in the room or in the discussion is so that we can create an environment to support each other on social and political issues. Museums are not away from society or politics. We are always impacted and influenced. And there's a lot of conversations that go on that are really difficult when you're a small museum. We don't have anyone trained in PR. We don't really have a marketing team. And we want to make a statement, but we're scared. And we don't know what to do. And bringing all of us together that have that same shared audience or a link in some way really means that we can have that power, we can share that impact, and that's really crucial. And overall, just have a positive industry impact in every way that we can. I unfortunately don't have time to go through all of these in real depth. I know I'm running out of time. So I just want to point your attention. I would love it if you guys could scan this QR code, take a photo of it, send it to as many people as you can. This QR code goes to a survey that talks about your interactions with museum networks or your complete lack of interaction with museum networks. What we want to do with this is collect as many responses as we can and share this with as many other networks as possible. This isn't just us wanting to grow our network. This is really a case for us to try and encourage us cooperating and collaborating with other networks. We're more powerful together. Has everyone had an opportunity to grab that? Amazing. Also, come and find me later if you need to. And that is everything from me today. I have just got some info on the screen. If you want to get in touch with me, you can come talk to me afterwards, or feel free to drop me an email. Stalk me on LinkedIn or Instagram, that's not a problem at all. And I really hope you enjoyed today's talk. Thank you so much.
Right, we're going to open it up to the floor. Are there any questions? Anybody want to ask anything about what Sarah's been talking about, networks?
Thanks, Sarah. That's really good. I work with students who are studying art history and would really aspire to a career in museums. I'm often saying try and find networks and get involved. How do you reach out to students, or do you welcome students into your network?
So at the moment, really hard to talk live. At the moment, they reach out to us the most. But one thing I want us to do more is to reach out to universities and to schools and to different institutions to let them know that we're here and that we're a resource. That's the key thing that we're going to start doing more. And it's great to hear that you're encouraging it too. So definitely that is something I'm going to do more of. So thank you.
Hi. We're looking at setting up a network specifically for people that work in our field within the museum, so in museum construction and permanent exhibitions and so on. But we've been looking at things like the Museums Association and other more formalised networks. How do you see your sort of networks fitting with those, and can we use those as resources to develop our own networks, do you think?
Definitely. So one thing I'd say is network is a really difficult term, and it encompasses such a wide range of different organisations. So yeah, definitely things like Museums Association, they are huge. They have paid staff, paid teams. Definitely a resource to go to. Ask them for advice, use them. Our network's a lot smaller. We do have a pretty decent structure. We operate kind of more towards a charity, and it's something I do want to do is get charitable status. So we work under a constitution. But honestly, a network can be what you make it. There are some that are super informal. It is literally a group of people on an email chain or in a WhatsApp group. You have to start somewhere. So yeah, have a look around, see what's available. But honestly, don't be scared of just getting something started. Just bring those people together, and it can grow from there. I mean, ours has been growing since 1991. This didn't happen overnight. It takes time, but it's really amazing to hear that you want to do one. That's exactly what we want to hear.
Okay, are there any last questions at all? So it's just really for me to say thank you to Sarah for all her enthusiasm that she gives to the network. Can you give her a round of applause, please?